guys, Coach Jay from Beam Motivation and Coaching, as well as the PowerShift Mindset podcast. I just wanted to put a video up here on YouTube. I know I haven't been using YouTube much. Most of the videos and content we've been putting on is Facebook or Instagram. And just wanted to give you an update as to what's going on with my coaching, with me personally, with the podcast. And the podcast, very happy with how that's going. Shruti and I just recorded our 21st full-length episode, and that went up yesterday. And we crossed 800 listens, which is, for us, a good milestone. And we very much appreciate the support that we've had from our listeners and the feedback we've gotten, and thank you very much. And then I'm also doing those short back and forths, which is a preview of the upcoming episode and a quick review of what was in the previous episode. So for those of you that might not have the time to listen to the full-length episodes, which run usually between 40-45 minutes, a couple have gone a little longer than that. The short back and forths are usually within that 9 to 10 minute, and give you, just like I said, a quick compressed review and preview of the two episodes. So that should get you informed as to what we're discussing. And then if you like what you hear there, maybe invest a little time into listening to the full-length episodes. Like I said, things have been going well with the podcast, my coaching, and what I wanted to talk here about is mindset. And for those of you that have followed on Instagram or followed the podcast, Facebook, you'll see that I went through a little setback about a month ago now, 3-4 weeks ago. You hear me talk about overall health, especially in the past 4 years. And like everyone, I've come and go with the time to eat better, time to exercise, time to this. And I've yo-yoed in weight over the years. I was an athlete in high school, all 4 years, beyond high school. Always played sports, coached high school sports for 15 years, which I kept up with my high school kids in terms of the running and doing all the drills and the exercises. And I'd love pitchers and catchers week for baseball. I'd still put the catcher's gear on and get behind the plate. Live batting practice, I was throwing the gear out, and they loved having coach there. Penalty kicks for soccer, I was getting in goal. They were shooting on me. So I kept up to date with all that and stayed in shape. And for being in my 30s and then pushing 40 towards the end, I was doing pretty good. But the past 4 or 5 years, I really made a jump to focus on my health. Family history, heart conditions have been in my family. My father's had 4 heart attacks. My mother had one. Uncle on my father's side, cousin on my mother's side. Both of my grandfathers had multiple heart attacks. So I knew it was in the blood, no pun intended, in my system. And the past 4 years or so, I really made it a point to eat healthy, to exercise. When I first started this about 4 years ago, I was 235 pounds, over 30% body fat. I got as low as 16.7% body fat. I actually got down as low. My low mark was 188 pounds. I know now I'd like to get back down to that 195. I know 190 will be tougher for me to push because I have put muscle on. So getting down to that would be even leaner than that 16%. Which would be hard for me to maintain, but I'm still working on that. But with everything I've done, making sure I eat well, I know my mother would be proud of me because I've added so many vegetables to my repertoire in terms of what I eat. I actually eat broccoli and cauliflower and some asparagus and Brussels sprouts and all these things that I didn't come anywhere near. I will say there's nothing you can do to squash and zucchini to make it appealing. Although I do eat it, there's pretty much nothing you can do. Best bet is get one of those noodlers and use it in place of your spaghetti and throw lots of sauce on it. But I have been eating well, exercising regularly. The exercise shifted a lot more in these past 4 years to strength training. Building muscle, building my metabolism, keeping the body fat off me. More so than in the past, if I went back 10 years ago or even more, I was running daily. I mean, I got to the point where my runs were 7.5, 720 miles, 715 miles, where I was running a pretty good clip in terms of the amount of running I was doing, the pace I was doing. I mean, I was getting my 5K, actually running 5K races, getting it under 24 minutes. And it worked for me then. I like what I'm doing now with the strength training. Well, a few weeks ago, while doing some cardio activity on a Sunday morning, I did feel some tightness in my chest. And I just had to stop for a couple minutes. And it was like a little bit of a burning feel. Like if you are a runner and you've gone outside on a run on a cool day and you're breathing in that cold air, and then as soon as you walk into your house and now you're walking to that warm air, you feel that little bit of a burn. That's all it felt like. Something like that. Let me catch my breath. Okay. And that's all it's got to be. I'm just out of cardio shape. So I said, you know what? Time to get back into adding cardio to my workouts. Every day I'm going to come home from work, hop on the elliptical down in the basement for 30 minutes. Well, come Monday, I hopped on the elliptical, 20 minutes in, feeling that burn again. All right, something's wrong. Well, got changed, went and did a private archery lesson, and Tuesday morning went into work, got to work at 5 a.m., and something didn't feel right. I let my boss know at 6 o'clock. I start early, start at 5 a.m. 6 o'clock, I went to my boss and said, hey, listen, I got to go. Something's not right. I'm going to the ER. He offered to give me a ride. I said, no, I'm all set. Well, get to the ER. EKG looked fine. Blood enzymes looked fine, which means I did not have a heart attack. But the ER doctor set me up for a follow-up with a cardiologist that afternoon. Go to the cardiologist. He looks at me. Same thing. EKG looks good. Blood enzymes look good. He says, but your cholesterol sucks. And I said, well, how could that be? I eat well. I exercise. He said, that's all horse crap. He said, it's your history. It's your makeup, which, like I mentioned, my family history with heart issues is not the greatest. He said he wanted to do a cardiac catheterization where they go in, scope out your heart, make sure there's no blockages. I asked him about the stress test, which I did kind of strong arm my primary care physician about 10, 15 years ago to do one. And because I was a runner, I was a cyclist, I was a hiker, I did all this stuff, he didn't think I needed it, but eventually agreed to having it done, and everything was fine back then. He said he wanted to skip the stress test, go right to the cath and check everything out, because regardless of the stress test results, he still wanted to check this out. Well, they go in and the doctor leans over and you're wide awake. You're looking at the screen. You see the bloop, bloop, and it's like, oh, there's my heart. It's like, and for me, I don't get grossed out with stuff, but it is kind of an eerie feeling as you're watching. And the cardiologist leans over and she says, we found a problem. We found a 99.5% blockage and they need to put in a stent. So for that first week, it was very emotional. First off, when I found out I was having the procedure done, I called both my parents. Parents are divorced. Talked to my mother, who's a retired APRN. Talked to my father, who, like my brother says, he has street cred. He's had 4 heart attacks. He probably knows just as much about the heart as most cardiologists at this point. And I just couldn't tell this story multiple times, so I spoke to both of them. They assured me everything would be fine. Like my uncle said, you kind of hope they find something because then you get an answer. It's even worse when they don't find anything, and then you wonder, what the hell's going on? Why am I feeling like this? Like I said, long story short, eating well and exercising, and they still find this blockage. My issue with the cholesterol was my bad cholesterol was fine. My good cholesterol was low. The science has not come up with a way to increase good cholesterol. The only thing to really do with that is adding cardio exercise and purple produce, which leaves you with basically like red cabbage, blueberries, blackberries, eggplant. Not much there that you can do with that. But I am adding some blueberries to my protein shake. I am obviously increasing the cardio. I'm also doing cardiac rehab, which is helping, although they need to chain me down because I do have ants in my pants and I'm trying to push myself more than I probably should. But part of this was, like I said, I want to talk a little bit about mindset. It's an issue where the first week, why has this happened to me? I knew it happened to me eventually because of family history, but I was thinking in my 60s, not at 45, the same age my father was when he had his first heart attack. And it just kind of bugged me. I did everything right. I ate right. I exercised. And then after the procedure, a couple days later, it was actually fairly easy for me to flip my mindset to, well, this happened at 45 because I'm doing everything right, because I'm eating well, because I'm exercising. Otherwise, it would have happened at 40 or 41. Or if it did wait till 45, it might have resulted in a heart attack as opposed to no damage and I caught it on time because my body is strong from doing what I'm doing. And that's a big thing, having that mindset of, you know, I did everything to protect myself, and I did protect myself. And there goes my alarm again, but I just want to go a couple minutes, so you're going to hear that in the background. That's my alarm to get to cardiac rehab. Having that mindset of knowing you did everything right and you protected yourself as opposed to why me? And I know it's easier said than done, and not everyone can just flip that mindset switch, but you got to try to look at the positives of everything that's going on around you. The other message I'm going to say is don't play through the pain. And for those of you that are athletes or were athletes, I mean, if you were that top player in your high school team that had the bum ankle and you're like, nope, coach, I can play, put me in, or your back was sore and you're like, no, coach, I can still play. When you have that livelihood of having to work and pay your bills and keep your health up so you can be there for your family or for yourself, don't play through pain. Get your checkups. Do what you need to do to make sure you can protect yourself. Unfortunately, I work in a place that we don't have sick days. And for many years, I would go in sick. And when I say that, I haven't had a flu shot in over 30 years. I get the 24-hour bug every 2 years, and it's in and out of me in 18 hours. So I never really needed the days where I needed the quote-unquote sick day because I was sick. But there's days where you're under the weather, where you're sniffling and sneezing and whatnot. And if you had that sick day, you would take the day off. Well, there were many times where I went into work not feeling well because I knew I wouldn't be paid for it. Well, this changes your mindset where, you know what? My health is more important than the couple bucks a sick day might have covered. And get your checkups. Get your regular checkups. If you feel anything, go to that specialist and just make sure you stay on top of everything. There's other people that are counting on you. You're counting on yourself. But always look out for yourself. And again, going back to that mindset, try to find any positive you can take out of any situation and really look at it that way. And again, I did everything I could to prolong this and push it out to happen in my 60s preferably. Unfortunately, it happened to me at 45, and rather than why me and why now, well, I know why it happened now, because I protected myself and prevented it from happening at 40 or 41. So if there's anything I can do to help, check out beammotivation.com. Beam Motivation on Instagram, Beam Motivation and Coaching on Facebook. Also look up the PowerShift Mindset on both Instagram and Facebook, and PowerShift Mindset across most platforms for the podcast. It's uploaded to SoundCloud, and then we also have it on iTunes and Spotify. And we appreciate all the support we've gotten on the podcast from myself and Trudy, and really look forward to getting other messages out to you guys on general health and fitness and mindset. And again, we appreciate your support. Thanks.